Shabbat Shalom. Glory and honor to the Father Yahweh for bringing us safe through this week into the Shabbat. Glory and honor to He who created the heavens, the earth, the sea, and all that in them is, the only God, the only true God, and His Son Messiah, who is our high priest, operating as the high priest on our behalf at the command of the Father, that we might have sin removed from us and righteousness to seal us. Glory and honor to the name of the Father Yahweh. Glory and honor to Yahweh Shai, the Messiah. Glory and honor to the Father who sends His Spirit to us to guide us in the way we should go. Greetings to the 12 tribes of Israel, scattered because our fathers worshipped other gods, but who are now awakening and coming back to Father Yahweh. Greetings. And to the 144,000 who are the forerunners of the return of Messiah and the establishment of Messiah's kingdom, who bring forth witness of the Father's righteousness to Israel. Greetings. And to the precious ones among the Gentiles, the children of Japhet, the children of Ham, and the children of Shem, who are not of the bloodline of Jacob, and yet through the blood of the Messiah have been redeemed into the perfect righteousness of the Father. Greetings. Greetings to the chat, Brother Walter, Brother Jacoba, my fellow Floridian, Brother Superstar, Brother Manny, Only One Way, Brother Brandon Beckman and his family, Hebrews, Rhonda, my brother Gary Joseph, Sister Azariah Israel, Brother Mark, Brother Stephen Kelly, Lumos Turner. Greetings to all of you. We have been studying the book of Genesis, and I mentioned earlier how marriage is a big topic in the Bible, and it's very big in Genesis. You have three very important marriages: the marriage of Abraham and Sarah, the marriage, which we're going to look at tonight, of Isaac and Rebekah, and of course the marriage of Jacob with two wives, Rachel and Leah, along with the concubines. So they're very important. There are three different dynamics here, but they're all, of course, biblical, and they're all, of course, what we should be seeking to model after from the Word. Praise the Most High. Let's look at the Revelation chapter 19. And Revelation 19 shows the marriage feast of Messiah and the bride. And this is right after the message of warning given in Revelation 18. Actually, the message of warning given in Revelation 18, the plagues showed in Revelation 16, the rise of the great whore and the powers of the earth as a one world government in Revelation 17. And so here is after, it says after these things. So it's after these things have taken place, and you're seeing the Messiah being connected to his bride. And in the Hebrew wedding, one of the things we have learned, and we're going to look at again tonight, it's not like the weddings we see today, in that there is no vows exchanged in the Hebrew wedding. It is assumed that the husband and the wife are already committed to the covenant of Yah, as all Israel was given the covenant of Yah. The responsibilities are known to the husband to provide for the wife. The wife is known to be faithful to the husband. They don't have to make that pledge, because being a wife and a husband was assumed that you would do these things. Of course, things are different today. But in Israel, you don't see that ceremony. You don't see the exchange of vows. What you do see is a marriage feast, a marriage supper. And that is for the purpose of celebrating that the two individuals are going to become man and wife, and also to confirm that among the witnesses, and that's what you have, witnesses at the marriage supper. So you're going to have witnesses that's going to bear witness that these two people are going to be husband and wife. That's what makes it legal in Israel, the witnesses. And so, of course, another major topic in the Bible, another major principle is the principle of bearing witness, bearing witness. And in fact, we know that as we are sealed in the Father's righteousness, as we become sealed in his spirit, the purpose of that seal, one of the major purposes, is to bear witness of the Father's righteousness, to bear witness. And that, of course, as we know, is the gospel. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Messiah, for it is the power of Yah unto salvation to all that believe, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek, for therein is the righteousness of Yah revealed. So the whole purpose of us bearing witness is to reveal his righteousness, especially in the war that we're in, the spiritual war, where the Father's being called a liar. And that's what this war is about. The Father is being called a liar, where our father, Adam, gave the true liar power in this earth. And so in this war, our role is to bear witness to the Father, as Messiah did, is our great example. So here in Revelation chapter 19, the Bible shows us, and actually what you will see, what you're seeing here in Revelation 19 is the same scene that you're being shown in Revelation 7 when you see the multitude that could not be numbered. It's the same situation going on with both of these. So let's take a look in Revelation chapter 19, going to begin at verse 1 and go from verse 1 down to verse 9. Revelation chapter 19 from verse 1 to verse 9. And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Hallelujah, or Hallelujah. Salvation and glory and honor and power unto Yahweh our Most High. For true and righteous are his judgments. For he hath judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. Again and again they said, Hallelujah, or Alleluia. And her smoke rose up forever and ever. And the 24 elders and the 4 beasts fell down and worshipped Yahweh that sat on the throne, saying, Amen, Hallelujah. And a voice came out of the throne saying, Hallelujah, all ye his servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. And I heard, as it were, the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunderings, saying, Hallelujah, for Yahweh Al Shaddai reigneth. Now I want you to notice too, the great multitude, like in Revelation chapter 7, that's all of us, and the voice of many waters, that's the Messiah, and the voice of mighty thunderings, that's the Father. So everyone is rejoicing and giving glory to the Father, even the Father. Verse 7, let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. And he said unto me, Right. Blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said unto me, These are the true sayings of Yahweh. So, brethren, clean and white means righteousness. Now, in the physical realm, the woman having not been touched by a man, a virgin, is representing that purity, that whiteness, that cleanness. And in Bible times, that's what the norm was. Okay, that is why when the Bible mentions that Joseph was espoused to Mary, and before they came together, she was with child, and he did not want to make her a public example. For a woman that had sex with a man when she was betrothed to another man, is adultery and punishable in Bible times by death. That's why he said not only just death, but public execution, stoning. So he said, the Bible said, did not want to make her a public example because it was expected that a young woman was going to be a virgin, having never been touched by a man. And so that's the representation here. And of course, we know the Bible shows us that the woman is a representation of the nation. She's a representation of the nation. And so here the nation is described as clean and white. And there's a marriage supper. So you see, you have the two principals, the husband and the wife, and then you have all the other people that are invited. It says, blessed are they which are called. That's like invited, called to the marriage supper of the Lamb. So all of the ones that are invited to the wedding, they're witnesses that this is going to be the husband and this is going to be the wife. That's a Hebrew marriage. Okay. Now today they have to, people make vows. It's different. People make vows, promises, right? Because they're not in the land. These are not, everything else is not the chosen people. Also, as you know, a lot of times this is not a situation where two people are coming together and the woman is a virgin. In fact, that's pretty rare. I think we agree that's very rare these days, the way the world is. But this is classic here. Now, the good thing about it is that if you see here, it says the fine linen is the righteousness of saints, so that even a woman who is no longer a virgin can be declared pure by the perfect righteousness of the Father. If it is her desire to be that virtuous woman that the Bible describes, no matter what happened before, coming through Messiah to the Father, she can be cleansed. She can be redeemed. She can become pure. Because even a virgin can be evil, right? But a person that's cleansed through Messiah's atonement, cleansed and accepted of the Father, I mean, you cannot get more purer than that. Classic example of all time is, of course, Mary Magdalene, who was a sinner. Okay, she was a sinner. She was not a virgin, but Messiah cleansed her, redeemed her, and she became pure again. Praise the Most High for the redemption power. So today, we're going to see here the real marriage between Rebekah and Isaac, the promised son. So let's go to Genesis chapter 24, and we saw the preview of the desert gangster Laban. Preview. We're going to see more of him later in Genesis, but we get a preview of him right here. Now let's review what happened up until this point, because it's all important in the marriage. So Abraham wanted a wife for his son Isaac. He did not want his son to just marry anybody. So he had his servant Eleazar go to his family, go to Abraham's family of his brother Nahor, and find a wife of that family for his son. Eleazar gets there, and as we know, what did he do? He prayed. He prayed and asked for guidance to find a wife for his master's son. Stop here. Tells you what we should do. What should we do? We should be praying to find a wife or spouse from the Father, because that's who Eleazar was praying to. And remember what Abraham said to him. If you go there and you do not find a wife for my son, you're clear from this oath. Because why? It could have been, the father could say, I don't want him marrying any of these women. And it could be the father might say to you, I don't want you marrying anybody. You always have to have that possibility in your mind. Okay? Marriage is very special, as we know. But the Father has to choose for us. He has to choose for us if we want it done right. Sometimes he decides, for whatever his reasons might be, I don't choose anybody for you. You have to be prepared for that. Or because you're praying to him and your desire is for a spouse, he might have someone for you. But he must choose, not you. And why? Our vision, spiritual vision, physical vision is limited. Our wisdom is limited. We call on our Father, who is the Alpha and Omega, who can see the whole path of our life from before we was born to the end. And having understood this, having that knowledge, he would know in his infinite wisdom and understanding who is the partner for you to walk that path with better than you. And I have to say, a large percentage, I can't give you an exact number, but a large percentage of the marriages that I have seen fail have been in large percentages this. The person is trying to put on the father what they are doing. In other words, they're not really letting him choose. They're choosing. And then they'll say, the Lord brought me this person. Then a few years later, they're divorced. Father doesn't invest in broken marriages. He doesn't bring people together for it not to work. Okay? But that's what people do. They're not letting the father choose. They're choosing. Okay? And then when the father is not allowing, just telling them, showing them this is not the one, and he will do that, you'll be ignoring that. And you'll marry the wrong one. I don't have to explain this too hard to y'all because we're living in a world where this happens the majority of the time. The majority of the time, people choose the wrong one. The majority of the time. It used to be, it was only 25% of the time. Then it became 50. Now it's more than 50. More than 50% of the time, people choose the wrong one. Okay? So that's just an example. Okay. Genesis chapter 24. Now, Eleazar met Rebekah. Rebekah goes back and tells her family about this man. He comes to the house. And this is where we left off the last time. I'm going to start at verse 27. Genesis chapter 24, verse 27. And he said, Blessed be Yahweh Most High of my master Abraham, who hath not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I, being in the way, Yahweh led me to the house of my master's brethren. And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house these things. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran out unto the man unto the well. And it came to pass when he saw the earring and the bracelets upon his sister's hand, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his master, saying, Thus spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well. And he said, Come in, thou blessed of Yahweh. Wherefore standest thou without? For I have prepared the house and the room for the camp. Laban saw that loot, and ching, ching, ching came in his eyes right away. Okay? Tells you a lot about him, which you're going to see later. Verse 32. And the man came into the house, and he ungirded his camels, and gave straw and provender for the camels, and water to wash his feet, and the men's feet that were with him. And there was set meat before him to eat. But he said, I will not eat until I have told mine errand. And he said, speak on. And he said, I am Abraham's servant. So wait, first off, let us understand. Laban and his family are relative to Abraham. Laban's father is Abraham's brother. So Abraham is no stranger to this family. These are two families that are well acquainted. They know each other. Okay, that's important, especially in the marriage. So this is not a stranger. They didn't just pick this guy out of a hat. And this guy didn't just pick this girl out of a hat. These two families know each other. Very important. If it possible, and again, this is a new day in which we live, where families are separated. My family, when I met my wife, my family was disintegrated. I had to go to different places for my wife to meet my father, and another place for the wife to meet my mother. In fact, she didn't meet my mother until the day we was married, because our family was disintegrated. Okay, so I met all of her family. They were all together, but mine wasn't. But this is typical in the day and age in which we live. Okay, but at that time, these two families knew each other. Okay, verse 35. And Yahweh hath blessed my master greatly, and he has become great, and hath given him flocks and herds and silver and gold and men servants and maid servants and camel and asses. And Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son to my master when she was old, and unto him hath he given all that he had. Now, why does he go into this story? They know Abraham, but now if they didn't know before, they know Abraham provided well for his son. Therefore, his son would be able to provide well for their daughter. Any father wants that loves their daughter, that cares, wants their daughter to be in good hands. That's just basic. Any mother wants their child to be in good hands. Your child is going to leave your house and live with a man for the rest of her life if they do it right. And you want to make sure that that man will take care of your child. So what is Eleazar doing? He's letting them know, my master left everything he had to this one son, and he's very wealthy. In other words, he can take care of your child. Okay, he can take care of your child. Very important. And this day and age is much difficult, especially for Hebrews, And all my life, I've met one man, and he was a Italian man. And he was a short Italian man. He was about 5'4", and he went and saved his money. Couldn't get dates when he was younger. Saved his money, worked hard, and bought himself a little house. Then, after he bought the house, saved money, and had money saved, that's when he started focusing on finding a wife. I met him because a friend of mine had a daughter, and he was rapping to her, and she went with him, and the mother felt good. The father had died. The mother felt good sending her daughter to this man because this man had already provided and set everything up. So the daughter can leave her mother's house where she lived and move in with her husband. And that's the only time I've ever seen it. Okay, that's the only time I've ever seen it. But that's exactly how it's supposed to go. But it's much more difficult today, as we know. Brothers struggle financially. It's a fight out there just to make rent payments, right? It's a fight. And even if you make a decent income, the prices of houses today are such that it's very difficult for brothers to do this. Very difficult. The majority of brothers cannot do this. So what we do today is we look for both parties to be able to chip in together, if possible, right? We look for both parties that are able to chip in together. Brothers that are able to do this and provide from the jump street when they get married generally are people that are in the entertainment world. entertainers that make it big can do that, which is why you see a lot of ladies flock to these brothers, because they know very well this brother can provide for me for life. Okay. So, but it's more difficult today to do. Okay. Number two, we're going to find out at this time, Isaac is 40 years old. Isaac is 40 years old at this time. So he is at the height of his maturity, and he's wealthy. So he's mature and he's wealthy. Now you can see by Rebekah, the Bible says a young virgin. So she would have been in her early 20s, right? So she's marrying this man, let's say that's 20 years older than her, but he's able to provide for her, and he's mature enough and wise enough to handle her. Okay. That would be something brothers would want to think about, because it's more difficult when you marry like I did. I married my wife when I was 23 and had pot to pee and know when to throw it out. If I had an apartment, a studio apartment, that's what I had. And maybe $300 in the bank. That's what I had when this woman married me, right? And so I could tell you right now, that added to the burden of the journey. Okay, it did. But if I waited, well, the Most High chose her. So it wasn't like my plan was to wait till after I was 30 to get married and have put something away. That was my plan. But the Most High preempted that. You see? So, if possible, if you really want, brothers, if you really want to establish something that you can bring your woman to. Because the first thing is she needs to make sure she wants to know. All women want this. I mean, all women that wants to be wives wants this. And I think, sisters, you could bear witness if I'm lying. A woman wants security. She wants to know you're going to protect her and you're going to be there for her and you can provide for her. That's what a woman wants. What they are settling for today is the possibility of that. Sisters, am I lying? That's what they're doing. They're settling for the possibility of that, for the potential of that is what they're doing when they want to be wise. Okay. But they want to know you can protect them. You're going to be, even like I say, even if you're short and she's tall, they still want to know you're going to stand there, you're going to protect them, you're going to provide for them, you're going to treat them with respect. That's what they want. Okay. So as much as you can get to that point, that's what you like to do. Okay. That's what you like to do. You can't come to her with your hat in hand. I love you. You got to have something, right? Something. My wife, when she told me, she said she knew that I was spiritual and I was deadly serious about the word. And I was. And that was what she was looking for. Because if she was looking for security and money, we would have never gotten married. All right. So, but if as far as possible, that's what you'd like to establish, like Isaac. Okay. All right. Verse 38. Actually, verse 37. And my master made me swear, saying, thou shalt not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanite, in whose land I dwell. But thou shalt go unto my father's house and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son. And I said unto my master, peradventure the woman will not follow me. And he said unto me, Yahweh, before whom I walk, will send his angel with thee, and prosper thy way. And thou shalt take a wife for my son of my kindred and of my father's house. Abraham's a prophet. We know that. And so obviously he has talked to the father about this, and this is what he's declaring. The father's going to bless you. Don't worry. It's going to bless you. So again, Abraham prayed to the father for the father's will, and the father showed him. So here, Verse 41. Then shalt thou be clear from this my oath when thou comest to my kindred, and if they give not thee one, thou shalt be clear from my oath. So he eased Eleazar's mind, saying, okay, look, Eleazar, if it doesn't work out, you did your best, it's okay. Okay, but go there. Verse 42. And I came this day unto the well and said, O Yahweh most high of my master Abraham, if now thou do prosper my way which I go, behold, I stand by the well of water, and it shall come to pass that when the virgin cometh forth to draw water, and I say to her, give me, I pray thee, a little water of thy pitcher to drink, and she say to me, both drink thou, and I will also draw for thy camels, let the same be the woman whom Yahweh has appointed out for my master's son. So he's looking for a sign. Okay, brothers, sisters, when you're praying for a spouse, it's okay to look for a sign. It's because it's a very important thing. As a matter of fact, you should look for multiple signs. There should be multiple signs, not multiple red flags. When you start seeing red flags, pay attention. But look for multiple signs of confirmation. That's what you need. Multiple signs is an important thing. I don't think I need to explain to you how important a marriage is. It can make or break a person. A marriage can cause a person to lose their mind. A marriage can cause people to fall in love and go to higher levels, or they can go real deep, real dark, real small, real ugly. We know that. But, so it's real important. So yes, you must pray. And ask for signs. Ask for signs of confirmation that this is the way. The Father will not leave you without answering, as he did here for Eleazar. And I know he did it for me. I was praying 4 times, 5 times a day about getting married. Once I met my wife, I was praying harder. Okay, and almost called it off. But he kept telling me, no, don't do that. This is it. This is it. This is it. He kept showing me in various ways, different ways. This is it. This is it. This is it. Till he finally showed me the final way. I went to this camp. I was invited. And the man preached about faith. You can't see it, but it's there. And the results are there. And I felt they was talking to me. And from that day, it was September 1984, I wasn't going to look back again. I was looking back all that summer, praying and asking for signs. And the Father kept telling me, it's good, don't worry, it's good, I got you. And I said, at that point, that's it. That's the last straw. I said, okay, I'm going for it. Ask for signs, as Eleazar did. It's very important. You want to make sure. Okay? Ask for signs. Verse 45. And before I had done speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down unto the well and drew water. And I said unto her, let me drink, I pray thee. And she made haste and let down her pitcher from her shoulder and said, drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. So I drank, and she made the camels drink also. And I asked her and said, whose daughter art thou? And she said, the daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bare unto him. And I put the earring on her face and the bracelets upon her hands. And I bowed down my head and worshiped Yahweh and blessed Yahweh my most high, the most high of my master Abraham, which had led me in the right way to take my master's brother's daughter unto his son. And now, if ye will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me. And if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left. So he stated his business, and he gave them the whole package. My master's in good financial situation. His son is in good financial situation. He is a follower of Yahweh, and Yahweh led me here. I asked for a sign, and your daughter fulfilled the sign perfectly. So I need to know, are you going to let the damsel come with me, or will the virgin stay here with you? Straight business. Verse 49. Actually, verse 50. Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, the thing proceedeth from Yahweh. We cannot speak unto thee bad or good. So they acknowledged this did not come from Eleazar. This came from the Most High. He said, "But what else we want to say? This came from the Most High. Behold, Rebekah is before thee. Take her and go, and let her be thy master's son's wife, as Yahweh has spoken." And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped Yahweh, bowing himself to the earth. And the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things. Verse 54. And they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said, "Send me away unto my master." And her brother and her mother said, "Let the damsel abide with us a few days, at the least 10. After that she shall go." And he said unto them, "Hinder me not, seeing that Yahweh hath prospered my way. Send me away, that I may go to my master." And they said, "We will call the damsel, and inquire at her mouth." And they called Rebekah, and said unto her, "Wilt thou go with this man?" And she said, "I will go." And they sent her away, Rebekah their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant, and his men. And they blessed Rebekah, and said unto her, "Thou art our sister. Be thou the mother of thousands of millions, and let thy seed possess the gate of those which hate them." And Rebekah arose, and her damsels, and they rode upon camels, and followed the man. And the servant took Rebekah and went his way. So now the two families are agreed. Rebekah is going to be Isaac's wife. The two families are agreed. Okay. Yes, they wanted to keep the party going. They wanted to maybe get some more money from him. But then he said he was there on business. And he said, "Look, no, I got to go now. Being that my prayers were answered, we got this done. I got to bring this woman back to my master." Genesis 24, verse 62. And Isaac came from the way of the well Lahai Roy, for he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at eventide. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel. For she had said unto the servant, "What man is this that walketh in the field to meet us?" And the servant had said, "It is my master." Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. So apparently, as we see here, a couple things that I noticed many times when I read this, which you might have noticed also. Number one, it was eventide. In other words, it would come to the end of the one day and the beginning of another day. And Isaac went into the field to meditate. He went out there in the quiet to meditate. Apparently, this is a good thing. What y'all think? It's time to get some quiet and meditate. And we can meditate on the word of the Most High and pray to our Father and meditate on things that are on our minds and hearts. I do that a lot myself, and it's a blessing. It keeps your mind straight, especially when you're under stress. And we know all about stress. And also, I want you to notice Rebekah. She covered her face with a veil, a sign of humility, a sign of humbleness before her husband, the man that she knew. She had been coming there to be a husband, and they had never met before. Their families knew each other, but they had never met before. Praise the Most High. Verse 66. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. So, Abraham had servants, lots of them. And Abraham's wife, Sarah, had her own tent, and Sarah died. So Isaac took Rebekah in the presence of all the people there into his mother's tent and had sex with her. And he loved her. And everyone knew. Now Rebekah and Isaac are spouses. Notice there was no ceremony. There was no vows. The two families agreed, and the two people came together. Sex is made to be a consummation of commitment. That's what it's made for. Let me say that again. Sex is made to be a confirmation of a commitment. Now, today, it's greatly cheapened, isn't it? Greatly cheapened. People just sleep together today. Just to sleep together for pleasure. That's it. There's no confirmation of anything. But the Bible shows us here that these two came together as a confirmation. It's a confirmation of their commitment to each other. That's really what it is. It's a confirmation of a commitment to each other. Okay? And that's what it is. So when you have sex with a woman, men, you're coming together with somebody that's committing to you their body. And you're committing to them your body. Okay? In the sanctity of your connection, your union. If you just have sex with somebody because you just feel she's so fine, that's just a commitment to her body, not to her. And if woman, you just have sex with a man because you're lonely or you just think he's cute, that's not a commitment as a wife. That's a commitment to fulfill an immediate need. These two were committed for life, and the sex was a sign of that commitment, and it was witnessed because a woman would never go into a place by herself with a man. That would not happen. So for her and him to go into this place together shows this must be her husband. And the witnesses all knew that that was the situation. Okay? That was the situation. Praise the Most High. Now, later we'll see, and I think it's in chapter 25, that Isaac was 40 years old when they got married. Isaac was 40 years old when they got married. Let me see, was he there? Yeah, it's in chapter 25, verse 20. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel. Like I said, he was at least, I would say he was probably 20 years older than her. And you know, quiet as kept, she might have even been a teenager. She might have been 17, 18, 19, and he was 40 years old. Now, today, that's completely unheard of. First of all, today, most men 40 years old ain't looking for no girl that young. I mean, not for any serious situation. Why? Because they're too silly. They're not trained. Most of the women at that age are not trained. They're too silly. They still got to go through the youth of today, the silliness, the partying, the clubs, whatever. They're not ready. Okay? Rebekah was ready. You can see she was going out there bringing water to the house. Okay? But today, sister's not ready that young. Brothers going there is asking for trouble and drama. But then it was a different world. Sisters were trained in their house to be wives. And brothers were trying to be prepared to be husbands. Hence, this man is 40. He's getting his inheritance. This sister's ready to go. She knows how to run a house, take care of a husband. They're ready. So, what do we do with the broken situations that we have today? Well, we commit to becoming husbands if we're a man, becoming real husbands, and we commit to becoming wives if we are women. And we do this with the power of the Father Yah, who's able to bring things that are broken and make them whole again. That's the beauty of the Father's Spirit. That's the beauty of the Father's righteousness. He can bring something that's broken and make it whole again. Because a lot of us, like I mentioned myself, I know I'm not the only one coming to the situation. I told y'all, I was not planning. I prayed for a wife, but in my heart, I was like, I'll probably be ready, I thought, in maybe 7 to 8 years. That's what I really thought. And I was prepared to wait. And if the Father said nobody, I was prepared for that too. Because I had grown up in such a horrible household in terms of marriage. It was horrible. I was scared to have that. And I'd rather wait. Okay, I'd rather wait. But the Father had other ideas. Not only that, I knew I ain't have 2 nickels to run together. And I need to put something together. I need to make some plan. That's what I was doing. But the Father decided no. I'm very fortunate in that regard because I had just broken up with my previous girlfriend maybe 5-6 months before I met my wife. It wasn't that long. My wife, now she had been waiting 5 years. When she met me, she had been waiting 5 years. The last boyfriend, man, she had was 5 years before. She had been waiting a long time. Okay, when I met her. But this is the way the Father did it because both of us was praying. So I didn't plan it that way. That's what I'm saying. I would have rather did it like this. And I was planning that because, like I said, my parents' marriage was bad. And I didn't want anything like that at all. I'd rather not be married than have that type of relationship with a woman. Okay, not be married. Okay, what I learned is a couple of things. My mother didn't make me promise a lot of things, but one promise she made me make when I was 9 or 8 years old, which I readily made, and by the grace of the Father, always follow. She said, never hit a woman. Because my father used to beat her up. She said, never hit a woman. And I saw that for myself. So she ain't have to convince me not to do that. Ever. And I always told girlfriends I had, if ever I raise my hand to you, you can know right now our relationship is over. And if ever you raise your hand to me, our relationship is over. Because I had seen too much of that. Had seen too much of it. And I didn't want nothing in my relationship. That's what I knew. Okay, that's what I knew. So there's things you deal with in your relationships, in your situations. You have to deal with that with the Father. But I felt like I wasn't ready to be nobody's husband. But the Father thought differently, obviously. But that's the way you got to approach it. You got to be honest with yourself. Like I said, I told the Father, I ain't ready, number one. And that's what caused me to keep praying so hard. I said, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And the Father said, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And I kept saying, no, 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 no. He said, yes, 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 yes. And he kept showing me the signs. Initially, I didn't think like that because initially it was so overwhelming. I could feel the Spirit telling me literally, this is her. But after I had time to think about it, I started doubting that. And he had to show me multiple times. So brothers and sisters, ask for signs and follow them. Don't ask for signs. And when he shows you, you remember how y'all read how Jeremiah, Israelites wasn't listening to him. And when the Babylonians came and destroyed the place, they realized this man was telling the truth. So they came to Jeremiah and said, please seek Yahweh for us. And whatever he tells you, we'll do. So he said, okay. So he sought Yahweh, and they were planning on going back to Egypt. And Yahweh said, no, stay in the land. And Jeremiah said, Yahweh has told me to tell you, stay in the land. And what they said, Yahweh ain't tell you that. He's sitting there and they asked him. He said, we got to go to Egypt. They said, we got to go to Egypt. We can't stay here. And he said, the Father's telling you he's going to bless you. If you stay here, he's going to bless you. No, the Father ain't spoke to you. See, because they asked for a sign from the Father. He gave it to them and they refused it. Brethren, I've seen this too many times. Don't do that. If you ask for a sign and he shows you, and it's not what you thought or what you wanted, follow his sign now. Because you're going to get yourself in trouble. Okay, follow what he tells you to do. And he will show you multiple times. Okay. He will show you multiple times. It won't be once or twice because it's real important. Okay, real important. Praise the Most High. So tomorrow, we're going to see the two nations that would arise from Rebekah. Two nations that would arise from Rebekah, Esau and Jacob. We're going to see this by the grace of the Most High tomorrow as we look at chapter 25 of Genesis. Praise the Most High. May the Most High bless you and keep you. And may he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Sure.